let's move on to the Notre Dame Southern Cal game. Notre Dame had a week off. So did Southern Cal, by the way. So both teams had a week off. I was impressed with Notre Dame because they made some changes on offense. They tweaked their play calling, and they were able to run the ball finally pretty well. Their passing game was more efficient. Their defense played extremely well, and they won that game pretty much hands down, 31-16. They did have a couple key injuries. They lost their All-American safety, Kyle Hamilton. So we'll see. He's going to be out against North Carolina this week, but he should come back after that. I think Notre Dame, if they play like they did against Southern Cal, I think they have a great chance to run the table. The remaining games are North Carolina, Navy, Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Stanford. So Notre Dame could easily be looking at 11-1 with an outside chance, depending upon what happens next week. And we'll talk about those games here in a little bit. An outside chance of possibly getting in the playoff, even though it's probably not likely.
Do you think the committee would be? You think they'd try to shy away from getting them in the playoffs? Do you think they'd try to put them in any way they can if there's a possibility? In other words, because part of me thinks they want Notre Dame in the playoff because it's a big name school. They have a huge fan base all over the country. It's going to bring in a lot of money, right? Probably.
Right.
But then part of me thinks that they might try to shy away from it because of what happened recently with Alabama and all that stuff.
It's possible. I mean, I think there has to be somewhat of a perfect storm for Notre Dame to get in.
I guess my point is I don't see them like doing everything they can to get them in.
No. That would have happened 40 years ago in the 70s.
It would happen with Alabama nowadays.
Right. But it's not going to happen today. No.
Let me ask you this: when we watched the Notre Dame game, it was early in the game. It might have been like 7-0 Notre Dame, or maybe not even 7-0. But they did something, and then you flip the channel. And you go, I've seen enough. I feel good about Notre Dame. I said, what are you talking about? You said they sacked the guy twice,
right?
And then you felt good about the game. You felt good because they had 2 sacks. Explain that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why I felt good, because Notre Dame took the opening kickoff and drove 70 yards, missed a field goal, but then on the next possession, they sacked the Southern Cal quarterback twice, got the ball back, drove down, and scored. They ended up sacking him 5 times. I just felt like the defense was playing really well, and I just did not have. I had a good feeling about it. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's fine. I just thought that was funny. It was after Notre Dame scored, and then you said they sacked the guy twice last series, but they'll be fine. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of opportunity for a perfect storm to happen, though.
This is true.
Yeah,
this is true. I mean,
schedule of all those teams ranked ahead of Notre Dame and below Alabama.
Right.
There's I mean, of course, it's like all the stars lining up, but
right.
It's better. I think it's better than 50-50. That could happen.
Well, let's look at
all those Big Ten teams have to basically play each other, so they're going to knock each other out.
Well, let's look at Oklahoma first. They play Texas Tech, Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. I think there could be a loss in there very easily. Okay, let's look at Ohio State. Ohio State has to play.
Penn State could beat them.
They could lose to Penn State. They could lose to Michigan State. They could lose to Michigan. Okay, so there's a possibility for another loss there. Michigan has to play Michigan State this weekend. One of those teams are going to lose.
And remember, if they don't, and Ohio State could even beat a Michigan or Michigan State, no matter who comes out of that one. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for that to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying, let's say Ohio State loses to Penn State.
Right.
And then Michigan beats Michigan State.
Right.
And then Ohio State beats Michigan. Then they're all 3 knocked out.
That's right.
So
which could happen.
Yeah.
Oregon would be the only team that I think might be a little bit of a. They play Colorado, Washington State, Utah, and Oregon State. Utah may be the game at Utah would be the game maybe where they could slip up and lose their second game. Iowa has already lost a game.
I don't see them losing again. Iowa probably, right? So
Iowa plays at Wisconsin, at Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, Nebraska. So probably not, but possible. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I say that to say that there's still an outside chance, especially if Cincinnati gets beat by SMU. Of course, then you'd have a 1-loss Cincinnati and a 1-loss Notre Dame. And I could see the outrage if they put Notre Dame in over Cincinnati.
Yeah, I know. But the more I look at this, though,
But the payday would be tremendously more with Notre Dame than Cincinnati.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Man, I think money at the end of the day, money is gonna be what they go with. I think.
Well, and money
will talk. Cincinnati will walk.
Right. Thank you. That's a good way to put it. Let's look at another thing that we've overlooked. Alabama's sitting there with 1 loss. Okay, they have to play Auburn. All right. No guarantee they're going to beat Auburn. We've seen Alabama struggle this year. And then they'll probably have to play Georgia. So another loss by Alabama knocks them out, right? Two losses.
Yeah, I don't know too. Like I'm looking at Iowa and Ole Miss, the two that kind of I don't know if they have to really play anybody else that they could lose to, and they have one loss.
Yeah. We already
no. Ole Miss plays Texas A&M. They can lose to Texas A&M.
And they've got to play at Auburn this week. Okay,
I missed that one. So yeah, okay. So they have a lot of chances.
And Texas A&M. So that's two opportunities there for Auburn, for Ole Miss to lose.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's, I think like Uncle Joe said, I think it's better than 50-50.
Right.
I mean,
I think so too.